Hey guys, I wanted to share a little bit about the king of the north. The word north in Hebrew comes from the word Zaphon, and it actually has its origin in an earlier language and is squarely connected to the northern Levant, the barbarous region to the north, which is where we get the term Magog, which even extends up into Turkey and beyond. Really, there is no understanding of north in Hebrew thought apart from north in its entirety. When the Father brings destruction from the north, it is indeed all of the north, right on down through cosmological north, right to the northern part of the Levant and everywhere in between. And so we see in Daniel chapter 11 that the willful king of the north, hashtag king of the north, is indeed a son of destruction, both in it and of it. Prepositional phrases are important. And that, again, region is squarely connected to the northern Levant and nowhere else. So when we see the term north, we understand that when the destruction comes from the north, it then goes to the south. So the word south is the Hebrew word Negev, and it's a reference to the southern portion of the Levant, which is the eastern Mediterranean region, where the governors of Judah and Jerusalem now are exercising dominion, soon shaken. So I wanted to pick up in about verse 36 in Daniel 11. By the way, if you're like sitting in a church somewhere, some people that will affirm this that perhaps you are comfortable with. You might not know me or any of the people that are heralding this message that you're seeing both online and whatnot. Clarence Larkin, he's a teacher, and another one, Finis Jennings Dake. He edited the Dake Annotated Reference Bible. They both, before Israel, there was even a nation-state named Israel, affirmed all of these things that I'm telling you. Now, when it was revealed to me, I didn't know that they also carried this baton. In fact, even before I got here. But again, the king of the north is in every way Syria and nowhere else. He comes from Syria, the northern Levant. So look here, check this out. In verse 36, it says, "The king shall do according to his own will. He will exalt and magnify himself above every god, shall speak blasphemies, contemptuous, profane utterances against the God of gods," which is, of course, the God of Israel. And Syria has no particular affection for Israel. In fact, does regularly, the king of the north in Syria does regularly call for their destruction. And when you see his mouth pointing south and the frontlets of his eyes pointing south, know that indeed that is a fulfillment of the scriptures as he begins to fall to the south and drag the light of the world with him. We will all be experiencing very, very difficult days. It is at this time that east and west are pitted against one another too. And all this flowing through one heart, connected to one head, and that is the head of the house of judgment, which are the three Hebrew letters Bet, Shin, and Resh, which is in every way a gospel of the flesh. And that is, oddly enough, the first name of the fellow. Bet, Sin, or Shin, and Resh, which means the head of the house of judgment, is, of course, also the root for the word Besar, which is flesh, and Basora, of course, a gospel. So it is in every way a gospel of the flesh heading south, right through Samaria into Judea and up to the neck of Jerusalem, which is the exact opposite of what the Messiah instructed us to do, with good news of peace and love and prosperity and plans for us to prosper and not for us to be harmed. So it isn't difficult. The Father made this very, very simple. He is described as the lion from the north. In Arabic, the term is al-Assad. And so look at what he does here. Everything he does will prosper, it states. He will prosper. That's why no human will topple him. Everything he does will prosper till the wrath, hashtag the wrath, has been accomplished, for what has been determined shall be done. Skipping on down for the sake of expediency to verse 39. Now, thus he shall attack or act against the hashtag mightiest nations, or here, the strongest fortresses, with an alien god or a foreign god, which he shall acknowledge, advanced in glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and he will divide the land for gain. This is the Golan Heights. This is where the foreign fallen ones descended on Mount Hermon in the past. That is why Mount Hermon and the division of the land for gain is integral to the merging of these two realms. That is the realm that is hashtag above and below. So the heavenly realms and the earthly realms. And it is at this point where once he has gained control of this, according to the hashtag 1967 borders, that we will see tremendous vicissitudes worldwide. And, of course, like I said earlier, East and West will converge. The kings of the East eventually will march down across the dry bed of the Euphrates River, hashtag Euphrates prophecy, which, of course, runs through Syria, and where they will be gathered into the threshing floor and ultimately pulverized by the Messiah as he is carried by an east wind from the straight way, which people have difficulty finding, and indeed few are they that find it, instead looking every other direction, left, right, backward. Friend, the person who puts their hand to the plow and looks back is not fit for service in the kingdom of heaven. So you are not to have your gaze looking back at your woes or even your brother's row as he's hoeing it. We don't compare what they're doing compared to our row. Indeed, you press forward with the frontlets of your eyes focused squarely to the east, which is where that bright morning star, that son of David and seed of David, according to the flesh, and son of God, according to the Spirit, comes from. Now, down in verse 40, now, mind you, this is after he divides the land for gain. This will be done along the lines of UN Resolution, I believe, 242, if I remember. At the time of the end, hashtag the end, the king of the south, the word is Negev, shall attack him, the king of the north. And the king of the north, Zaphon, which is where he is from, the north. It's actually, the word is connected to the word Sapan, and it's the Latakia, or Latakia, Laodicea region, which is in the very north of the Levant, where the Abrahamic covenant land grant extends to, on that northern perimeter. And the king of the north comes against the king of the south. So that's the tit for tat that we're seeing between Syria and Israel in fulfillment of the prophets, and indeed my words for this generation long before any of it ever came to pass. Horsemen, many ships, he shall enter into the country, overwhelm and pass through. He shall also enter the beautiful land. That is the king of the north. Once he divides the land for gain, will enter into the beautiful land, and many shall be overthrown, but not these. Edom, Moab, and the prominent people of Ammon, that's Jordan. He shall stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt, again, south, further south, shall not escape. He will have power over the treasuries of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt and the Libyans, also over in Tunisia, and Ethiopians. That's a bad translation. It is indeed the Nubians, the Cushites, will follow at his heels. That's the Sudanese. Perhaps some of you who have the eyes focused squarely on your head, that is Messiah in the east, also recognizing the one that is not your head, the son of the left hand, when facing east, the king of the north, probably noticed that Sudan's Omar al-Bashir recently met with Bashar Assad in fulfillment of these scriptures, and my words from over 2 decades ago. He shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver and all the precious things of Egypt, and the Nubians, or the Libyans, that's also the region of Put, the Tunisia as well, and the Nubians will follow at his heels. The word means to lick out of his hand like a dog licks out of the master's hand. But news from the east and the north will trouble him. Therefore he shall cross over to his own stronghold with great fury to destroy and annihilate many. All this against the backdrop of him attacking the mightiest nations with the help of a foreign, unknown, alien god which his ancestors did not know and did not worship. And he shall plant the tents of his palace, or his dwelling place, between the seas. That's the Dead Sea, the Sea of Galilee, of course, and the Mediterranean Sea. And yet he shall come to his end, and no one will help him because of those tidings out of the east. He will cross over to his stronghold for fear. It is at that moment that he gets the idea that he's been on the wrong side. And before that, he will blaspheme those who dwell in heaven, that is the highest heaven, where the fallen angels previously had left their abode. And he receives support from the fallen angels and technological advancements, which will check as a check and balance for all of the wayward people that trust in the strength of their own arm and their own armies. It will be reduced to rubble in moments when the fallen ones give him power to continue. That means he's doing so before they give him power to continue, when they give him power to continue for 42 Kodashim, or months, in fulfillment of the scriptures.